Oh. Alright, Temple, so this is the, I've just been on a spree today. I guess I like this new program because it actually allows me to give you an edge. 100% of the time, an insurance agent's not going to let you see this portion of what it is that they're doing when they're coming up with the quote, which is an illustration for you. These are actually a bunch of things. So one of the things that I mentioned a while ago was a policy for a child. Briefly, what'd you say, Ben? Oh, okay. So, like I was saying, the I came up with a concept for you in terms of how to put a child's policy together to do something such as save up for college or give them an advantage in life, and I wanted to compare it to something such as the Gerber Grow Up policy. So I chose Mutual of Omaha because their universal policy is fairly easy, and I already showed you Nationwide, Prudential, MetLife. I haven't showed you Security Mutual yet. That'll be the next concept that I do. So this one is for a child, and we're going to assume that this child, Alonzo Hall, is Alonzo Hall Jr., and he was born exactly on my birth date this year. So we're going to put in 04/18/2017. Just so you know, a person is eligible to get a life insurance policy after 14 days of being alive. So once your child is born, 14 days later, 2 weeks, you need to be getting a life insurance policy on them. It seems morbid, but it's actually a great way to set up generational wealth. So we're going to go ahead and we're going to put in that date. Age, last birthday is obviously 0. We're going to do the solve for. We're going to solve for cash value. I'm going to mirror this policy exactly to that of the commercial that you see on the Gerber commercial, where they say the Gerber Life Grow Up Plan, $100,000 or $10,000 when they're young, and then it automatically doubles or quadruples to $100,000 when they're of age, and it'll cost you like $9 a month. And that's great, but that's not 100% realistic. So we're not going to do disbursements. This is how you get disbursements, and that's further concepts down the line, so don't worry about that. Policy options, we're going to take a look here. So the illustrative rate is current. That means it's going to illustrate whatever today's interest rates are. We're going to go with a level death benefit. We're actually going to go with an increasing death benefit. So the differences between whole life and universal life, which is why most agents will tell you that there's a difference between term and permanent, because permanent products have a multitude of layers. Term is just that, it's term. Permanent, you have universal, index universal, and whole life. So whole life doesn't build as much cash value as a universal life insurance policy. So we're going to do it with an increasing death benefit, and we're going to prevent the modified endowment contract. Next is riders. This is for a child. You need no riders. Don't waste your money on riders on the child's policy. They don't need it right now. We're not going to do air self. Air is an additional insured rider. This is when you hear people say, I'm getting the family plan. Anytime you put an air or an additional insured on your policy, just like a cell phone, they're draining from it. So just like when you have to pay $11 a month extra for your smartphone fee, that you get, even though all smartphones are smartphones, but if you got Sprint, T-Mobile, AT&T, or Verizon, they charge you X amount of dollars a month. I know with Sprint, it's $11 a month for smartphone use. And each phone gets tacked at $11. So the same thing with an additional insured. That additional insured is costing you additional money. Air other, same thing. We're not going to need it. Concept and proposal, reproposal agent info is non-essential right now. So we're going to calculate this. What I want to do is I want to show you the nitty-gritty numbers and the difference between this and a Gerber policy, and why a Gerber policy is not what you think it is. Not that it's bad. I always tell people say what's best to have, and I always say it's best to have something rather than nothing. I remember Exhibit said in a rap line a while ago, Rather be caught with it than caught without one. Now, as you'll see, I just did the term on myself. So I just re-entered that illustration, went into this one. Now, if you look at it, it's $980 a year. You're saying, why would I spend $1,000 a year on the kids policy when the Gerber policy has me spending $98 a year? So this is an Accum UL. Anytime you hear UL, that means Universal Life Insurance. So we're going to skip all the disclosures and blah, 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 because all that you need to sit down with an agent. If you want me to go over it with you, I will. I happen to know a lot of agents who charge $150 for this. I do it for free. If you don't believe me, go to New York Life and ask one of their financial agents to do this for you, and they will charge you at least $150. So, here we are, the nitty-gritty. Okay, now, you'll take a look at a couple of things. Right here you see guaranteed values. Guaranteed values, guaranteed interest rates are, when they say guaranteed, that means that North Korea has waged war against America, and there's a nuclear missile coming here, and it has already hit us, and everybody who has a policy with this company has died, except for the people who work at the company, and they have to pay it out. So this is never actually going to happen. Non-guaranteed is what you always want to look at. So this right here, wherever it says non-guaranteed, is the interest rates that you want to look at. I remember having a conversation with somebody. We were talking about the bank. I said, listen, if you put your money in the bank, you put $100 in the bank and let it sit there, it grows at an annual percentage rate of 0.75%, which means that every $100 you have in the bank, it takes a year to grow 75 cents. A life insurance policy grows, this particular one, at a compound interest rate of 3.05%. So that means that for every month you put $100 in this life insurance policy, the following month it has accumulated $3.05. And it just grows and grows and grows. So now we're going to look at the meat and potatoes, because everybody wants to know, well, you know, what's the benefit? I heard that I can borrow against this policy and this, that, and the third. Here's the reality of it. Generally, because there's pretty much no cost of insurance for a child, as you'll see after the second policy year, there's money there. So these are what you want to look at. You want to look at the end of year accumulation value. That tells you with how many dollars I've put into the insurance policy, how many dollars are there for me to actually borrow against. So your first year you pay in $980. Well, there's things the company has to pay, like my commission and you know, underwriting and all that good stuff. So you get $763 worth of cash accumulation. But if you decided at the first year to say, screw it, I don't like this, and cancel the policy, you get $0 back. Okay, I also did this with an increasing death benefit. I'll go into that later. I'm not going to talk about that right now. I forgot that my laptop is a touchscreen. If you look at year 2, again, your end of the year cash accumulation value is $1,575. You've paid in a little more than that, but it's $1,575. You take a look at your end of the year surrender value. That means you say, you know what, this policy sucks, I want to cancel it. You'll get back $375. Seems like a wash right now, right? It seems like a waste of money. Then you'll notice here you pay $980 a year for the first 3 years. By year 4, because we're preventing what's called a modified endowment contract, I'll get into that in another video, you're only paying $388. But then look, you have $1,734 if you decide to cancel the policy. Year 5, it goes back up to $832 a year. The reason why is because you overfunded it the first 3 years. So the 4th year, they have to not take so much money so that you don't endow the contract. So the next thing is you're going forward, and let's see. So 20 years down the line, because again, any good investment is going to be a at least 20-year strategy, which is why people like Bernie Madoff had people who gave him their money for 30, 50 years, and, you know, then he decided that he was so rich that he just needed to throw people's money away. So, take a look here, year 20. So your kid is now 20 years old. They've got $19,558 of accumulation value. And if you decide, hey, this policy sucks, you're getting back $19,558. Now, I should also mention here, I want to take a look at the model premium. So, when you look at the premium, you're paying $81.67 a month into this policy. Whereas with a Gerber policy, it's likely you're going to be paying $8.16 a month. So you see how you're not going to build up the cash value by paying $8.16 a month like you would paying $81.76 or $81 and some change a month. So, let's see, they're at age of majority, they're 25. Now, once a child becomes age of majority, you can actually pass this to them and say, hey, Alonzo Jr., listen, I paid for this for your first 24 years of life. I'm going to turn it over to you. It's your policy. You're now going to pay the same amount for the rest of your life. But guess what? You've just locked your child into a great policy. Now, the reason I did an increasing death benefit is because by the time my child turns 21, $100,000 is going to be the equivalent of $50,000. So now that he's got $20,000 worth of cash value in there, the insurance company is also at risk for that $100,000 in that contract that started. So again, I want to make this brief and short, but as you can see, that's one of the differences, or some of the few differences that you would look at when you're getting a traditional or a UL policy versus a Gerber policy. I hope this made a little bit of sense to you. I hope you watch it and you benefit from it. As I said before, my guys who keep watching the videos and coming up with questions, thank you, because you're doing, like I said, two things. One of those things is you're getting questions that you may have and needed answered to be answered. Secondly, you're making me better at what I do. So with that being said, before I go, I just want to let you know, you keep looking. It's a permanent policy. So this policy is going to go until your child dies, or until age 90, which is where it would endow. But now at age 90, all they have to do is stop paying. And now this policy, as you'll see, when they are in policy year 89, is the apex of the money, $269,487. That's where they could go, hey, I'm 90 years old, I'm going to go ahead and cancel this policy. People are living longer, so, you know, people living at 90 in 20 years from now will probably be average, and then this will be 20 years from now. I don't have kids yet, so God knows when I'm having kids, so when my kid, 90 years from now, you know, people will probably be living to 500, who knows. But this is at the point where he could go ahead and say, you know what, I want to cancel the policy, take the money out, and I'm going to go travel the universe. With that being said, Black Lives Matter, one love, I'm out.